On our examination, we will step forwards 5 times with a lunge punch. So we take our front stance, pull the hips back if we can, and then we're going to lunge forwards, taking the back leg to become our front leg, using our front leg to drive. So this presses and push forwards. Make sure you aim straight or slightly below. We're not going to aim high on our first one. Our second technique is to step back with a rising block. Use this bent leg to push into the back leg, creating the bend that you would like to see when you create the new stance. Keep the body weight moving, so don't leave it. Rise, lead hand, and then squeeze back, rising block. After the rising block, we're going to step forward with an outside forearm block. This lead hand comes forwards. This hand on the hip comes up by the ear. And quickly, we want to be twisting our hips to block our stomach. We want to be blocking round our stomach. The next technique is to step backwards. So again, I want to be collapsing that back leg, but this time pushing the front hand out. I'm reaching across my stomach, so my elbow points forwards. Push in and open out the hips, inside block. The next technique is to step forward with a downward block. We want to squeeze and lift this hand high. Sorry if the microphone is crackling. Squeeze and lift this hand high, and at the same time, driving forwards, sweeping down. What's really important, because this is a lift and push, is that you don't lift the leg and stamp down. Try and remain horizontal to the floor. From here, we change stance. So I'm going to push into this back leg, squeeze my feet together, picking up my back arm, but it's going to be my front arm. And then I sit on that back leg, my hand comfortably on my solar plexus to my tummy, doesn't really matter. And then this arm chopping down. Then we come on to the kicks. So I'm back into the front stance. Important to be kicking, so picking your heel up to your glutes at the same time as squeezing your thighs together. Now, from there, drive into your front knee to stop yourself rising, and then lift the knee high. If the scrunch is nice and tight, it'll want to release. And at the same time, tilt your hips to create the height and the snap. Roundhouse kick comes next. Now it's important when you roundhouse kick, to the first part of the kick to happen behind you, not to the side or in front of you. Later on, when you develop your fighting style, you can change this. But when we develop the building blocks of this kick, everything happens behind you or to the side of you, behind you. It doesn't happen in front of you. Just like a front kick, drive into that support leg and lift. If you notice, I've started to rotate on the supporting leg, creating the roundhouse, squeezing and landing. It's an important kick, so I'm going to do it again. From the front stance, everything happens behind. Start the rotation, roundhouse, and down. The final two kicks are in horse stance. So we have our snap kick and we have our thrust kick. So from our horse stance, take your back leg, look in the direction of travel, and quickly step over the front of the front leg. If you notice, my heel is up because it's not committed to anything. Once I commit, that's when the kicking leg gets into position. And I want my kicking leg to be anywhere from sort of here-ish, which is, if that's 12 o'clock, this is about 10 o'clock, all the way to 9 o'clock, doesn't matter. Then from there, we open out our hips, snapping and landing into our horse stance. Our thrust is very different. So when we step across thrust kick, I'm going to do the same stepping action, but this time I'm definitely going to lift to 12 o'clock. What's important from here is the chambering and twisting. So I want to twist, so my glutes are the furthest thing sort of showing, then thrusting out, back and down. So the snap, I do it off the other leg, is about here to here. And then we open out, back, down. Whereas the thrust starts here, twist, so the glutes are showing, out, back, down.